Hello everybody. In this video we're going to show you our Dulcinea, which is our business intelligence system, our dashboard builder. So we're going to introduce you to it. This is the main menu, and we've got these 4 different items here. We're coming off the main menu. Each one of these is a little mini app in its own right. In this video we're going to concentrate on the charts. Now the way we actually work the system is that we do the data totally separate to the charts. We can go in with all the charts that we've got and then link bulk data to a particular chart, and then using a pivot table, a sort of a stylized pivot table, we can actually then create a mini block which is associated with that particular chart. So you have a chart, you have a mini block, and they go together. That's assumed to have been done already at this point, and we'll come back, we'll do that in a separate video. So I'm going to click on here now. Okay, right, I'm going to click here and I'm going to go charts. Okay, I can come into here. Now I want to show you our library we've got at the moment of dashboards. So I'm going to click on here. Okay, now this is one of them called the crab. What I want to do is I want to go back to what we would call the beginning. Okay, click here and now click here and click again over here, click here. So this is the starting point. We have a suite called Insight, okay? And in here we've got 6 different dashboards, and you can have a look at this one. This is a lovely one that we've actually got here showing this combination. Now these ones, this is a very cryptic little menu system. We just put the lines. The top one here is to go forward. You right click. Now in our system, everything that we control is with the right click. Normal Excel is the left click. Okay, so this top panel here, if I right click here, it'll take me forward. If I go here on the second one, I can go back again. So that's how I go backwards and forwards on this item. And if I go over here, okay, and right click there, it takes me back to the menu. So I can come back into here, into the dashboard. So now let's go through these ones. Okay, click here. So that's now one called Libra. Okay, nice one here. And all these colors are controllable. Okay, everything that you want. This one's left space for some extra things. We're going to put in some shapes shortly on that. Okay, and you can do some different stuff with the shapes as opposed to just the charts. There's another one like that, with a green theme, Titan. Okay, Apollo. We're going with the rich royal blue. And now this one over here was done with this matte blue. Anything, whatever you like. We can also change the background, so again a white background. So what I want to do now is move on. This one this is now called the Milky Way suite, and we've got this nice bubble one which shows you just what the effect is. The bubble size changes with the actual value of that particular item, and the biggest one comes up in a different color. Okay, so we can see that, all this kind of thing we can do. Okay, click. This is another one we call belt. So we're just showing you an example of all these items. So it's important to understand these do not exist in a spreadsheet. They are being developed instantly by pulling out parameters from a database. So we're matching the data for each chart. We match the data with a miniac, and then we land this on the dashboard, and we're building this on demand. Okay, click here and click back to here. This is crab, which is the one that we started with, and one more that I want to show you down here. Okay, and this is one we call Mercury. Okay, and you can see, so we can do this thing. Sometimes it's quite nice to do this in panels like that, have a kind of an effect that you might want to see. Okay, so what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to go here, and now I want to go back here, and that will take me to crab. So I'm going to land here. I'm going to use this one for the next issue. So what I want to show you now is how the parameter system works. This is the most beautiful aspect of the system, where you can just use a very simple point and click parameter system in order to be able to go and change it. So I'm going to come out of here now. I'm going to go back to charts, and there's my number one, my first chart for this particular dashboard. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to press the F4 key, and what that does is strip out all the parameters. They've all gone down to 0. And what it shows is just what would come up from Excel once we match if you select the data block and then insert a chart, this is what you get. Okay, if we come back to the dashboard here, it shows like that. It's trying to show our stuff, but it's got no parameters, and that's what comes up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is use the parameter system. So I'm going to right click in this 4th block down here. I'm going to go there and right click, and now I get what's called the chart parameters. So what we've done is we've done this into groupings here. We've got the primary, we've got the chart title, we've got the different YAX title. We don't tend to use those ones because on the dashboard there's not enough room to put in X and Y and X titles, but they're available if you want them. Then you've got the axis, you've got the series style, so you can change the colors and the labels, grid lines and legend where necessary, and then the plot area, which is a separate internal area of the thing that can be controlled separately. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through these bit by bit. I simply right click there. Now I'm going to click on landing. I want to land this in a place, and then this is placement. And I'm going to go to an option called bubble, okay, and that's going to give me a nice thing. Let's just come back here, okay, and now you can see I've taken away the XL one, we've got my one, and it's positioned, that's where I want to position it. So now I just click back here again and I carry on. Now one of the things I have to do here is the gap width, because this is a bar graph, and on a bar graph you must change it. The size of the bars and the size of the gap is controlled by this figure, and we're going to put in 80. It's 80%, so the gap is 80% of the bar width. Okay, so if I come back to here now, you'll see the bar width is that, and this is much bigger, and this looks a bit chunky on here, but it looks great on the dashboard. You'll see how that comes about now. So now I'm going to right click here. Now what I want to do is I want to change, let's go to a border. And what I'm going to do with border, I'm going to put a thin grey border around the system so that I can see what's happening. Click there, click on weight. Weight is 3. Color, I want to use grey. Grey, I'm going to use this slate grey option. Okay, so if I come back to here now, I've got that. Now it doesn't show up because it's got white. So we're going to change the fill here. Come back to the fill, and we're going to go here. Now I'm just going to type in, you can always type in the parameter. If you know what the parameter is, you can just type it in like that, and then click back here. So now I've got black, and now my parameter comes up quite nicely. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the chart title. Okay, so first of all, I've got to turn him on, and then I'm going to control his font. We're going to use Helvetica, and we're going to size 5, and bold. I can go here 1, and I'm going to go 102, which is our code for white. And you come back to here, and I've got that. Now, one thing I want to do here on that is the placement. I want to go, and I want him to go to the left. So I'm going to come back, and he shows up on the left there. Another thing that's important, I'll do that right now, is the plot size. I want to put this thing, and I want to use the plot, which now that's a particular way of doing it, and it's relative to the chart, so it shrinks down, and it just means doesn't take up quite so much space here. Okay, if you click here, you can see it's smaller and it doesn't take up quite so much space. That works quite nicely on the dashboard. Some of these things, there is a difference between when we render it here and render it on the dashboard. And what might not look 100% on the chart, but it looks great on the dashboard, and that's what we're going to do. Let's just go look at the dashboard as it stands at the moment. And there you can see it's just what we've got there. These ones are all complete, but this one is still being developed. Okay, so now let's come back to charts. So now what I want to do is I want to do my axes. I'm going to go axis, I'm going to go on axis font. Here I'm going to use Calibri, and I'm going to use size 3 here, and then bold 1, and then color is 102. Okay, and then for the line, same thing. I want weight 3, and color. Click there, and 102. There we go. Now the same on the x-axis on. Okay, at the first thing, font, and now we're going to use Calibri, size 3, bold, color, white, and white. Okay, now I'm going to go back to line, and then on, and weight, and 3, and color, and I'm going to use white here, white and white. There we go. Now I come back to here, and now I've got the border lines, and I've got the actual axes, and I can see those items. Now the final thing I've got to do is change my color of my bars, and that I'm going to do down here, style, current, color. Okay, and that color 1, color 2 is when you want gradation. We'll show you that later. Okay, right, so I'm going to come into here, and I want orange, which is under the red category. I'm going to go orange and orange 7. We haven't tried to name these things because it gets too complicated to name every single color. So once you get down to orange, we just go 1 to 7 like that. We find that works quite well. Okay, and there you go. And now I'm back to what I started with. If I come back to my dashboard, and there you go, you can see them. And that's all it is. That's all there is to actually putting this thing together. Let's go and have a look at another one, for example, here. I'm going to go back to, I'm going to click here, and I just want to show you, for example, how we can do gradations. Okay, click here, click right click, okay, coming back to here. Now, let's take, for example, this one. I'm going to come out of here, and I'm going to come down to charts, and I'm going to click on here. Now, say I wanted to change this color. I still want to use gradations, but I want to use a different color combination. Let's click over here. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click on background, chart fill. Now what I'm going to do, I want this one to be dark blue. So I'm going to go, I want this one to be cyan. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go cyan, cyan 7. And then here I'm going to use dark blue. So I'm going to use dark blue 2, for example. And now I come back to here. And now I get it looking like this. Okay. If I was doing this now, I would change my color here to a 1. Okay. So let's go to title. Let's go to font. Let's go here and go 101. Okay, and click back there. So he comes up now. I can see him more easily. And now we can come back here, click back there, and click on the dashboard. And now you can see he comes up like that using blue. So it's incredibly easy to blend your colors and move around and do this whole thing. And the parameters for this are saved in the database. If you take the option of synchronizing, using the cloud to synchronize, you can publish this to the cloud. And everybody who's linked up, if you're in quite a big group, you can link up. They will automatically synchronize. It'll pull down the latest parameters for this particular chart. And that's literally all there is to it. We'll do a separate video to show you how to do the data calculations. Thank you very much.